Barnard will be released on parole in less than a month. Barnard was sentenced to life behind bars 21 years ago in 1998 for the murder of anti-apartheid activists and Wits University academic David Webster. He had gunned down Webster outside his home in Troyeville in Johannesburg and later boasted about it to girlfriends. Barnard was also found guilty of the attempted murder of another activist, Dullah Omar, and was given 2 life terms plus 63 years. Well, the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Michael Masutha, joins us on the line now. Minister, thank you. You approved a parole today. In fact, we're waiting for the Minister to be on the line with us. And recently I spoke to him about another person waiting for parole, Janus Wallush, and the Minister has denied parole for Chris Hani's killer. I believe he is on the line. Minister, thank you. Ferdinand Barnard's parole you approved today. Why?
He otherwise had been qualifying except for some time, except for the one issue we needed to resolve, and that had to do with the fact that there was a bit of confusion as to the main victim, who is the partner of Dr. Webster, the late Dr. Webster, Ms. Maggie Friedman, as to whether she had been properly engaged and what her views were on the possible reason. Now, I had to arrange a meeting with her some 3 weeks ago, where in order to try and understand what exactly was the issue, and she clarified to me that she had no problem with it, except for the fact that she felt that she had not been properly engaged by the department, so that they can allay insecurities about it. She needed to understand the process, she needed to understand whether precautionary measures had been taken, because remember, she was personally involved in the incident, and obviously with all the trauma that was associated with it, and given the institutionalized system in which these executions were taking place after the whole apartheid regime, she felt a bit unease, and she needed to be put at ease. And it was after that that I felt that I had managed to get her to become a bit more comfortable, because otherwise she did not necessarily oppose it. And therefore there was nothing else left to prevent us from proceeding with the release.
Minister, we spoke recently about Janus Wallush, the killer of Chris Hani. He's been in jail for a longer period, but you're denying parole there. Maybe this will be useful. Tell us the different circumstances. Why are these 2 cases different?
Well, look, every case is dealt with on its merits. You'd recall that in our decision on that matter, we sanctioned that the 2 social workers who had presented somewhat conflicting reports be asked to jointly evaluate him, so that we can get some kind of a joint report from them that would narrow the differences of opinion and hopefully, ease the discomfort that also Ms. Dimpo Hani and the SABC had about the whole matter. So we've given it a 6-month return date, during which period we would then anticipate some kind of feedback that would enable us to re-evaluate the whole matter.
Minister, the fact is many people don't want apartheid-era murderers to be free, certainly not members of hit squads like Ferdinand Barnard. Do you try and be fair?
Yes, certainly we appreciate the sensitivities, but the law says that once a person has served, in the case of a lifer, 20 years in terms of the current legal arrangement, they are entitled to be conceded, and this is based on merit. And if circumstances, or rather if the profile of an offender puts them in good stead to be favorably conceded, we have no reason to keep them. In fact, the law requires us not to keep a person longer than 24 months, even if we decide not to grant at the time, and to review them, within that 24-month period maximum. So we continue to evaluate persons in that manner until eventually the person is released on parole, if they are eventually released. And of course, if they do not present themselves as meriting any favorable decision, we continue to defer their release accordingly.
Do you consider things like his attitude, whether he's remorseful or not? Is the issue that
he's... take into consideration that, because part of rehabilitation is to change a person's criminal behavior and attitude. And if a person continues to be in denial, is not remorseful, that in itself means that our corrective interventions have not yet been successful.
Okay, so you want to see a change. I don't know what someone would do after spending 20 years behind bars. Finally, do you believe someone like Ferdinand Barnard, with his past, does he have anything to offer to society?
What do you mean? Does he have something to offer to society?
Yeah, I mean, he comes out. Would you advise him to get involved in anything? Can we look at the history? Can he talk about it? What could he offer?
Part of what we do is to provide reskilling, is to provide, through various programs, instill a positive attitude in the offender so that they become a positive influence in society over and above giving up their criminal behavior. We believe that through the various programs, we change people into a positive members of society.
All right, thank you for your time, Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Michael Masutha.